everybody.
Hi.
Welcome to SoulSpace Podcast number 30. Yay! Celebrate 30. So today we're going to talk about Reiki. Both of us are Reiki masters and teachers. And we haven't shared about that yet. So it's one of our favorite things. Every day, every week we say that.
Yeah.
But Reiki really is.
Tracy, and that's okay.
We do. But Reiki really is probably the foundation for everything we do, right?
Yeah, I agree.
It's where we started, what kind of opened the can of worms of the woo-woo stuff.
Yeah.
And our
With the
healing
velvet
journey.
red.
Yeah.
Yes, and the healing journey, absolutely.
Yeah, it really is a great place to start on your journey if you're ever interested in your spirituality and your healing and all that stuff. It's just a really easy place to start, a gentle place to start.
Yeah.
It's not too woo-woo if you aren't into that kind of stuff. And it is an ancient form of healing that's been around for hundreds of, probably thousands of years.
Probably millennia, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because something that was passed down, or at least from teacher to student, teacher to student, teacher to student, before it was ever written down.
Right. Yeah, and the form that we do is called Usui or Usai Reiki. I don't know which is right. You see,
and I always say Usawi. There's so many different ways to pronounce it.
Yeah, and I say Usui or Usai. So it whatever. Kuba.
Yeah, it's called USUI.
Yeah, USUI. So we don't speak Japanese, so we don't know the correct pronunciation.
Forgive us for that.
Yes. Yeah. And I know my teacher used to say Usai when we first started now, and then later she changed it to Usui. So, it just depends. So anyway, we can just start by talking about maybe what it's done for us, and we'll go into a little bit of the history of it, what it's all about,
what it actually is.
Yeah, what it actually is.
And the benefits. And that's really the big piece, is how it can help you.
Right.
The ways that it helped us is wonderful, but it has so many, like a vast array of things that it can assist with. And so that's going to be fun to talk about too.
Yeah. So good. So, what brought you to Reiki? Do you remember what your first experience was, or what actually led you to it?
It's a really great question. I haven't thought about it in a while.
Mm.
I remember, so I do remember exactly now that I think about it. So I have a person who's a friend of mine now, and she did Thai body work, which is, and she was also a Reiki master. So she did a combination of Thai body work, which is very physically working on the body, along with energy work.
Yeah.
And I had such an amazing first experience with her that I continued to see her. It was just mind-boggling. Like, it was like my entire everything, like my spiritual body, my physical body, my eyes, like everything looked brighter.
Wow.
I felt happy. I felt light. I was like giggling in the gas station after I left her house because I was like, I just felt so amazing. And I had never experienced that before. That was my first session. And so her and I eventually became friends, and we're still friends to this day. This is years and years and years ago. And I had such an amazing experience. I asked her, started asking questions about what she's doing and how she learned and all these different things. And we started talking about Reiki. And she said, that's really the place that I started. And that's really a place that I think it would be beneficial for you to start if you're interested. I said, yes. She's like, okay, the first thing you need to do is find a Reiki teacher.
Awesome.
And I said, okay. So I started Googling people that were Reiki teachers in my area. And I came up with a couple of people. It was hilarious because one of those people was you. And one of those people was the teacher that I actually went with, that I started with, which is hilarious because it's like you and I obviously became friends not very long after.
Right, because we didn't know each other.
We didn't know each other at all.
Yeah.
And I had never heard of your name. I had never heard of your shop, but that's actually where I learned about your shop. Is looking up Reiki. Oh, I need to go to that shop.
Oh, cool.
But I felt like Melissa was the name of is the name of my teacher.
Yeah.
And so I went with her, and Reiki really opened up everything for me.
Mm-hmm.
It reopened my spiritual life. It rekindled my intuition. It really helped open me back up to everything spiritual. And my mediumship really started to become what it is today.
That's awesome.
And it really, she was also a mentor to me and helped me to be comfortable with my spiritual side and be more comfortable with the things that I was experiencing, be comfortable with feeling the energy, knowing how to keep myself, my energy separate from others, but still assist them with their own energy. And so Reiki was really a game changer for me in a lot of ways, and helped me to realize things about myself that I didn't even know were a thing.
Right.
And it helped me through a ton of things. So Reiki for me is like the biggest piece that was missing.
Yeah.
That started a whole, like you said, can of worms, or opened up the big rabbit hole, taking the blue pill. I don't know. It was just one of the best, probably like top 3 things that I've ever done in my life.
Right.
For myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Getting married is one of the first ones. So it's pretty big.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, what about you, Tracy?
I feel the same way. Yeah, it was, back when you didn't just Google everything. You didn't.
Right, I had Google. It was nice.
Right. I did. When I first, I knew the word Reiki. I don't know how I knew it, but it was like kind of before computers were a thing that you just went to for everything, and I didn't know why I knew it. I didn't know how to spell it. I didn't know it. I just knew it was something that I needed to learn. And that was quite a few years before I actually found it. But when I lived in a kind of a smaller town where you didn't really go out of the box, and if you did, you didn't tell anybody about it.
Yeah.
Well, I was one of those. I was a natural healer, which I learned later. I didn't realize that about myself, but I had gone to an expo, and this little short snippet, but it's after I had started learning Reiki. And I got an aura picture taken, and the lady told me, "Oh, you're a natural healer," and all this. And my aura was totally green, and I'm like, "Oh, cool. I just learned Reiki, my level 1." And she goes, "You're on the right path, whatever." And I immediately called my sister on my way home, and I said, "This lady told me I'm a healer." And she said, "Well, duh, you didn't know that?" And I'm like, "No, I didn't. You should have told me," but it was weird because, when I thought back about it, yeah, I was the one that brought the stray animals in and healed them and got them back to health and whatever. I was always taking care of everything and everybody around me. So yeah, it was my path, but I just didn't, sometimes you got to have that 2x4 over the head before you get it. So anyway, when I moved to Fargo, the first thing I did, and I was in my 40s when that happened, moved to Fargo. I was going through a real crisis. Our family was, and a really bad time in our lives. And I'm pretty sure I was on the verge of a nervous breakdown. I Googled Reiki teachers. I found out what Reiki really was, and I Googled who's teaches around me, and I found a gal, and she was teaching at the Spirit Room at the time. And she was from Minnesota, but she came to Fargo once a month or something and did sessions and taught. So anyway, I found her, and her name is Rebecca, and I started learning with her, and I went all through my master level with her, and it was such an amazing experience. And I really believe that it saved my life. I had a lot of anxiety and I was really shy and just a lot of things that I didn't know you could fix. I
Right.
thought that's just me. That's just how I am, you know. But Reiki was the thing that really, it was the missing link in my life.
Mhm.
I, from then on, felt that connection to God or to that higher power, whatever you call that for yourself. I felt that again. And I had lost it somewhere along the line, you know. And so I learned, and yeah, it opened up me to so many other things and brought back my natural intuition that I, on the other side, I knew that I had it my whole life, but I didn't realize that's what it was. And later found out that, you know, my mom's family was kind of intuitive and pretty cool things. My mom and I got to learn things together for a long time, and Reiki really opened that up to a whole nother world out there and strengthened my connection to my spiritual life. And it was just really cool and has helped my whole family. I mean,
Right.
I've used Reiki before I started actually doing sessions for people and doing it as a practice. I did it on my family all the time, and my little nephew, who is now, you know, a foot taller than me, and he's a junior in high school, and he used to have my sister, his mom, call me when he was like 2 years old, and he was supposed to take a nap and he couldn't get to sleep, or anytime he couldn't, call Tracy, do Reiki, call my Aunt Tracy and have her do Reiki, you know. Tracy, do Reiki. He would call, she'd put him on the phone, Tracy, do Reiki. Yeah, I'll do it, you know, and he would be out like that, you know. So it was so cool to see that in people that you think wouldn't be open to that. And so yeah, that's where I started too, was really to help myself because I didn't know what else to do, and to help my family who needed help at the time, in my immediate family. So yeah, it's really a cool, amazing, life-changing thing to do for yourself. And even just having sessions is a huge healing tool.
Absolutely.
You know, to learn it is one thing and it really works on you, but to learn it and then help be able to share that with others is an amazing thing to do.
Pretty unbelievable experience.
Right.
I
Yeah.
100% agree.
Yeah.
And I still love a good Reiki session on myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely.
it's just the best.
It is. It is. Yeah. So, you know, some of the things, like what are the things that you feel most when you have a session done to you?
Well, for me, I always feel lighter.
Mhm.
My whole body feels lighter.
Yeah. me
You know, it
too.
feels like all the heaviness that I felt has been weighing me down just is gone, just is lifted. I know my headaches go away. I get less and less headaches when I have Reiki sessions. I feel like my blood flow is better. Like I have some difficulty with blood flow in my hands because I have carpal tunnel like every other human in my family. And so my hands fall asleep a lot. And so when I have Reiki sessions, my hands don't fall asleep so much.
Yeah.
And I just feel like it really opens up the blood vessels, relaxes the muscles. My eyes don't feel as tired. Everything looks brighter when I have a Reiki session. Like everything, looking around, everything just looks so bright, and that's really fun.
Yeah.
You know, it's always helped my digestion. I feel my stomach doesn't hurt, you know, it feels really good, and my digestion is really good now, but it didn't used to be when I started all this. And so I work on my stomach a lot, you know, I'd have so many stomach problems. My stomach would hurt every day.
Yeah.
You know, so Reiki would help with that, and then to feel that alleviate, that always feels amazing. My back pain goes away because I've injured my back in the same spot 3 to 4 times, really badly. And so, like, you know, my back doesn't hurt. I work, you know, my knee stops hurting because I've injured that knee on the same side an equal amount of times. as well as that foot.
Yeah.
So, Reiki just alleviates my body aches and pains. I mean, there's so many things that it does for me personally. It also helps with anxiety, helps me feel relaxed. It helps. I mean, I could go on. The list is endless, really.
Yeah. Yeah. For me too, the biggest thing is anxiety. It really has helped me alleviate that and deal with it. That nervous tension and stress. So, mostly mine has been more of the emotional stuff that it's helped me with, but also, it's helped with pain too, like knees or ankles, whatever. But for me, it's been the emotional journey that has changed me the most, or helped me the most.
Right.
Yeah, it's so good. It's hard to explain what it actually is, and we can kind of explain that a little bit
Yeah, I
now.
feel like we should talk about what is
what
Reiki,
is
because
a
we're
Reiki
talking about
session?
it, and
Yeah.
everybody's like, "What's Reiki?" Well, we're going to talk about that.
Yeah.
And we'll talk a little bit about the history, so you can get an idea of where it comes from, and
Yeah.
then we'll talk a little bit more about benefits to you. We'll keep going into all of that as well, so that because we talked about what it means to us, but I think it'd be good to just talk, well, what is it?
Yeah. Yeah.
What is it? What is it? Because
Right.
people are like, Reiki, what's this Reiki thing? Some people know because it's something that's even used in hospitals today.
Yeah.
For
that's amazing.
beneficial healing, which is fantastic. They use it in the area at one of the cancer centers actually on a
they
regular
do.
basis.
Yeah.
So I think it's something that's really becoming more of the norm, which is fantastic because so many people can benefit from it.
And Reiki is non-invasive, so it doesn't, you can do it on anyone, anything, any living thing, any non-living thing.
Right. You don't
You
even
can
have to
just do
touch
it. Right.
a person to
Yeah.
do Reiki, which
Yeah.
is beautiful because not everybody likes to be touched, or if they have pain or burns or things like that, you don't have to actually
Yeah.
physically touch the body like you do with some other practices.
Right. Yeah. And it is just an energy that you are a conduit for when you learn how to do Reiki. You are channeling that energy through you. And so you can do it long distance. You can do it with someone. Like when I do it, I do a light touch. Like I'll just hold my hands. But a lot of people just hover over somebody when they do it. You can, either way is perfect, and there's places where you don't want to touch, you like on the face. Some people don't like to be touched on the face, so you can hover over the face, but then you can touch on their back or on their arms and legs, whatever, and you're channeling that energy through you. So it's not really you doing the work, you're a part of it, it's coming through
You're
you.
allowing
Yeah.
the work to come through you as a conduit.
Right. Yeah, so you're channeling that energy from your higher power to the person that you're working on. And it's not a religion, it has nothing to do with religion. It's from source energy, and the word Reiki is 2 syllables. It's Rei and Ki. So Rei is channeling that force, Ki is the life force energy. So you're channeling that through. It comes from Japan. There were forms of it even before Dr. Yusui, who we learned that form of Reiki. It might have been a Buddhist healing that they called something else, but it was forgotten about, really. And then our Dr. Yusui picked it up through an enlightened meditation or something that he went through, and he saw these symbols in his dream or his vision, and that's how he started doing it. And Reiki is passed down from person to person. So when you do learn it, or if you find someone that you want to learn from, you should always ask them their lineage, because if it's a form of Usui Reiki, you can trace your lineage back to him.
Yep.
And that's how you know that you're getting a form that is traditional and is real, you
Yeah,
know?
because there's the traditional, Usui Reiki,
Yeah,
as I say, and there are other forms.
Right.
And so both of us, when we were first trained, we were trained in that traditional
Mhm.
Reiki. And I think really it's an important foundation to
Yeah.
have for any learning beyond that, because it really
Yeah.
teaches you the foundations of Reiki, how it's important being a practitioner and what that means,
Mhm.
working with integrity, and also teaches you all of the skills that you need in such a way that makes it so that you have competency to help others.
Yeah, yeah. And most people that teach other forms of Reiki, they'll have you make sure you know this form first, because that is the foundation of all Reiki,
Right.
at least in the States, you
Right.
know.
And the master levels that we teach beyond the traditional Reiki,
Mhm.
I always require somebody
It's
to
a
at least have level 2,
prerequisite.
if not a master.
Yeah, 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 it's with any teacher that have integrity to stick with the tradition, they will make sure that that is a prerequisite that you have learned from a Usai master to begin with.
Right.
Yeah, so it's a tradition where sometimes traditions are out the window now in our world nowadays, you know.
True.
And it's one thing that I know I teach, and I stay with the tradition.
Mhm.
It's sacred. It is just a sacred practice that you can have. And it's meant to stay that way, so that's what I keep. And I know people do teach it online now, and you can find the symbols online and whatever, and that used to really get under my skin when I first started.
Mhm.
But I know, anything's out there for you to find if you dig.
It's called the internet
Yeah, it's
these
called
days.
the internet. Yeah. But still, even if you know all that and you've seen it before, to learn a traditional way really does strengthen that energy, I feel like, and makes it more of a part of you when you do it in person.
Right, and it really is, it's such an experiential thing.
Mhm.
To learn it in your
Yeah.
mind is one thing, to learn it in the experience of the
Mhm.
in-person learning and experiencing the Reiki energy, what it feels like, and what it feels like with your attunement and afterwards and things.
Yeah.
You really can't replace that experience. You
No,
just can't.
No. And you become a family with the people that you learn with and who you teach. I've taught, I think it's getting close to 100 people now, and it's just becomes a family. You always have that connection, and to see some of the students that have gone through classes with me, how much they've changed from the beginning. And I think about what my teacher must think when she sees me, we've stayed friends for years, and think about, wow, how far you've become, or how far you've come since the first class to throughout your life, and what you've done. Some people just learn it for theirself and just to heal things within theirself, and
Right.
don't make it a practice. Like, don't do it for clients. They might do it with family members and stuff, and that's totally fine.
Yeah,
And
which is perfect.
it's so good.
That's why most of us learn it at first, is to help ourselves.
Right. And then
we realize how amazing it is, and we want to help others.
Mhm.
And I love to teach, and you love to teach.
Yeah.
So that led us naturally to that as well. But
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
it really, when that experience means so much to you and it has done so much for you, you want to share it with other people.
Mhm.
And that's really
Yeah.
why we do it.
Yeah.
It's joy.
Yeah.
It's pure joy.
Yeah. Brings you joy when you can help somebody else feel better, and emotionally or physically.
Right.
And it brings you joy when you can work on yourself too.
When
Right.
when someone gets up from the table and goes, Whoa.
Yeah.
That's like my favorite moment.
Yeah. Or you have to wake them up because they're
They fell
snoring.
asleep,
Yeah, yeah, it's awesome.
Are you relaxed?
Right,
You know?
right. I guess I don't have to ask if you're relaxed or not, but
Well,
yeah, yeah. So when you do learn Reiki, it really becomes a part of you. And it is different than a session to learn it. You get an attunement, and that is when your master teacher will pass the symbols down through them to you. The symbols will become part of you after that, and you carry that energy within you all the time. And that sounds kind of weird, maybe, but
really
it's
what
not. It's
what it is
energy.
is it opens you up
Yeah,
to channel more of that energy. We
Right.
already are channels for universal energy.
right.
It's just part of who we are.
Yeah.
And we feel it. It's like electricity
Yeah.
out through
Yeah,
our
and
hands.
anyone can rub their hands together and go like this, and you can feel that energy ball if you practice and
Mhm.
do it, you can feel that. Once you're attuned to Reiki, you probably feel it more.
Yeah.
And more often, like if you are sitting with somebody that needs the Reiki, a lot of times you'll feel your hands
It's
heat
warm
up.
up.
Or
Yeah.
if you give someone a hug and they need some Reiki, you'll feel yourself warm up. So it's really a cool experience to have that energy and to know what it is. 'Cause people have it naturally, but they don't know what it is or how to use it. So
Right.
when you learn Reiki, it teaches you that, and it teaches you how to strengthen that and use the symbols in your practice. And the symbols are just symbols that you learn at each level that you take of Reiki. And they help you, like there's a symbol to do long distance Reiki. There's a symbol that, strengthens it, that you can use for calming or taking out negative energy, putting back in good energy, things like that. So you learn how to work with the symbols and use them in your practice and in a session giving Reiki. So I think that's, well, it came from Japan. We talked about that. Maybe we could just read this first paragraph.
Yeah, I think we just kind of talk a little bit about the origins. Yeah, because we have a whole thing that we use in our Reiki classes.
Yeah.
It kind of tells you a little bit after it. A little bit about it, sorry, after it.
Yeah.
Word.
I'll read this first paragraph and we'll see what that spins out. So,
Okay.
So speculate the origins of Reiki. Speculation based on knowledge of other ancient healing systems has led to a plausible hypothesis that may shed some light on the pre-Usai origins of Reiki. There is a Tibetan Buddhist healing technique called the medicine Buddha. It involves the laying on of hands similar to Reiki. The ability to do medicine Buddha healing is transmitted to the student through an empowerment given by the teacher similar to a Reiki attunement. There are other spiritual lineages of Tibetan Buddhism involving the transmission of the ability or value through empowerments. Since Tibetan Buddhism is the only form of Buddhism that uses empowerments, it's likely that the Reiki Dr. Yasui rediscovered was formerly a Tibetan technique that had been lost. It's known that a spiritual lineage of this type may stop due to the failure of the teacher to pass it on. The lineage may then resume hundreds or thousands of years later when a monk or a spiritual seeker receives instruction and empowerment during a mystical experience. And that's what happened with Dr. Yasui. He had a mystical experience and was given the symbols. So that's where it started. And he is the one that carried it on and started teaching people and built a clinic or a school about it. So
Right.
Perhaps this is what happened with Dr. Yasui. Perhaps he had been a Reiki master in a past life, and this gave him the determination to seek the healing power again. perhaps the lineage had come to an end only to be started again when Dr. Yusui's Reiki was reactivated during his mystical experience. So he did start a Reiki school, or Ryoshi, I think they called it. And they have documents of that school, and he taught some people that brought it to Hawaii, Miss Takata, and she was the one responsible for bringing it to the West and to start to teach it in the States, and taught people that brought it then again to, to the mainland, and passed it on. So it's so awesome that it went all around the world because of one man who was so passionate about healing others and doing the work. So
and both
really
of us, through our teachers, trace our lineage back to Ms. Takata
and
back to Dr. Yusawi.
Yeah.
And so I think that's really beautiful, because you and I think our teachers had the same teacher.
Oh, cool.
I think that's what it was.
Probably.
And so that's kind of beautiful as well.
Yeah. And I know I had the chance to teach some people in our coaching company at a retreat one time. And one of our friends, who is from Denver and has lived there his whole life, is also a Reiki master, Dave. And he sat in the class when I was teaching it, just to see, if it was kind of the same as what he had learned. And he recognized some of the names in our lineages that matched. And it was so cool to hear that, because you don't think about it normally when you learn something or take a class. There's not that lineage in a lot of other things, especially in the healing world. A lot of times you don't know where that thing came from, or whatever,
Yeah, exactly.
It's just cool and it feels good, so you do it. But but this is awesome to see someone that we didn't know any of the same people, but yet our lineage cross lines somewhere. It went back to Ms. Takata and to Yusui. So yeah, really, really cool. So if you're ever thinking about taking a class, make sure you do ask for that information, because if they don't have it, then they probably haven't been taught by someone that is doing it in a respectful way. Or maybe they were, but they were taught wrong. They don't have that lineage, and
it's not the traditional Yusawi Reiki, so you might not be getting all of the information that you deserve to have.
Right. Yeah, you might not be learning the proper things that you should know, and you should really know about the history behind what you're doing, and
the history and the why. And it's just really important to know also how to do a technique that's this important in a respectful, dignified, and safe way.
Right. Yeah. It's just so awesome to learn and to do and to share with others.
We absolutely love it. We had another piece in there that was about just saying what Reiki is, because it has some good pieces in there. I think we wanted to share, and I don't know if it was here, if it was on the other sheet. That maybe is in the front of your book. I'm not sure if we grabbed it.
Oh, maybe not.
Excuse her, looking for papers.
Well, she's looking for it. I'll read.
Here it is.
Oh, okay. There's a Reiki prayer that is kind of like the golden rule for Reiki practitioners. And it's good to read every day. I have it hanging on a painting in my bedroom. So I look, as soon as I wake up, I see it on my wall. And it's just awesome, and a good prayer to say every day. So it is: just for today, do not worry. Just for today, do not anger. Honor your parents, teachers, and elders. Earn your living honestly and show gratitude to every living thing. Simple, easy, feels good.
I love it.
Yeah.
Especially when we're doing the magic right now, showing gratitude to every living thing. I love it.
Yes. It's so good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I love it. So since we talked about Reiki and how much we love it for the past however long we've been doing this, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't pay attention to
Few
time.
minutes anyway.
Who cares about time?
Right.
I just wanted to read what Reiki is. And so this is what we teach at the very beginning of class.
Mhm.
And I thought it'd be important for our viewers to kind of have an idea of what it is, so then you can figure out what it is and what it isn't.
Yeah.
So what is Reiki? Thousands of years ago, it is believed that Reiki first came into being. Sacred symbols were learned from memory and were never even written. They were passed down to others only after years of training. The practice of laying on of hands is not a new thing also. You can find examples of it in almost every tradition and religion throughout history. Reiki combines the use of sacred symbols with the placement of hands on the body to promote healing and well-being. The following is an excerpt from William Rand's article, What is Reiki?, found on his website at www.reiki.org. Quote, the knowledge that an unseen energy flows through all living things and is connected directly to the quality of health has been part of the wisdom of many cultures since ancient times. The existence of this life force energy has been verified by recent scientific experiments, and medical doctors are considering the role it plays in the functioning of the immune system and the healing process. It is not a foreign thing to any of us when we are in pain, we put our hands on the hurting area. You have a headache, up go the hands. Over our eyes or on our forehead. Backache? Hands rest on your lower back. How many have you done? Oh, my back, and had your hand on it. Oh my goodness, it hurts so bad. Neck ache? Hands are on your neck. But how does Reiki work? William Rand, founder of the International Center for Reiki Training, says Reiki heals by flowing throughout the affected areas of the energy field and charging them with positive energy. It raises the vibratory level of the energy field in and around the physical body where the negative thoughts and feelings are attached. This causes the negative energy to break apart and fall away. In so doing, Reiki clears, straightens, and heals the energy pathways, thus allowing the life force to flow in a healthy and natural way. Reiki is gentle but very powerful. One premise upon which Reiki is founded is do no harm. It helps in the healing of virtually every known illness, injury, and imbalance, including multiple sclerosis, cancer, flu, cuts, broken bones, depression, stomach problems, migraines, and fatigue, most of which we've just talked about, and how it's helped us.
Yeah.
Rand adds that Reiki will improve the results of all medical treatment, acting to reduce negative side effects, shorten healing time, reduce or eliminate pain, reduce stress, and create optimism. And there have been studies that support that statement.
Yeah. And that's why they started doing it at the cancer center.
Yes.
Because they found out that it can really reduce their side effects of treatments and it can help boost your immune system and get you back on track sooner. It's so cool. Yeah.
Exactly. And I've used Reiki in my own cancer journey, but just not a problem for me anymore.
Right. Yeah.
Which we won't go into today.
Yeah.
Upper levels of Reiki training introduce the use of symbols to do everything from long distance healing to intense instant healings and emotional releases. Symbols have power because they carry a unique vibration. When combined with the Reiki, they have the ability to carry the healing further. Once forbidden to be written, these symbols are gradually finding their way into books. Even websites as alternative methods of healing are gaining strength. And if you think about it, so symbols are words. And we know that words have power.
Right.
We know that positive words increase our immune system. We know that negative words bring it down. We know that positive words help us feel better. We know that negative words make us feel worse. And so this really goes along that line of those symbols hold an energy just like our words do. Right. And that energy is something that helps us to heal. Right. So words can hinder or heal. This is the same. The symbols are there to help you and to help you on your healing journey in different ways. And that's what's beautiful about the symbols.
It really is. And you'll notice if you ever learn Reiki that once you learn the symbols, the power is 10 times full. Or it's a lot more, there's a lot more strength behind the energy than there was before you knew the symbols or used them.
Yeah. And I think a big part of that is the intention.
Yeah, it's all, in energy, everything is in your intention. So it's really cool. Some of the things we could talk about how we've used Reiki and
Yeah.
helped others. I did a little experiment with a friend of mine who was having surgery on her leg for varicose veins on her both legs. So, and she was doing one leg, and then a while later she did the other leg. So on the first leg, we didn't do Reiki at all. And she had a terrible time, took forever for it to heal. She was in a lot of pain and said, okay, I'm not doing that again, So her second leg, when that came time for her to do that one, I did Reiki on her long distance the night before. She called me when she went in, so then I did Reiki while she was in there, having the procedure done. And then when she got home, and it's a same day surgery thing, so she got home and she called me and I came over to her house and then I did Reiki on her for that. And she always has a little trouble coming out of the anesthesia. She gets a little pukey and, people get woozy from it sometimes. Then so the first time she had gotten sick and whatever, did not feel good. That was a terrible experience. So the second time, I came over right when she got home and did a session with her then. So she didn't get woozy from when she was coming out of everything. She didn't feel as much pain. I don't even think she had to take many pain meds for except aspirin or whatever, Tylenol or something.
Yeah.
But, and then, her second leg healed twice as fast as the first
Oh my
leg.
gosh.
It was so fun to do that.
Well,
And
right,
to
because it's
see
the
it.
experiment on the same person
Right.
in real time.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was great. And then I have another guy that I work on quite a bit that is a little elderly and he loves to downhill ski. So he'll call and say, okay, I don't think I can do this anymore. I want to ski one more year, and he had a really bad wreck one year and hit a tree or something and he was really banged up. So I did it on him for that and got him back on his feet again. And I've done it when he had a knee replacement, I think, or ankle replacement, one or the other. I've done it on him a lot, but anytime he has a physical pain, he'll call and long distance is good for him because he has a hard time laying flat on a table.
Yeah.
So I'll do long distance with him a lot. Physical pain things, I've used it for a lot of emotional stuff.
Yeah.
In sports, like I've had a few people, one that was running a marathon and she wanted to recover faster. So I did Reiki after the marathon and she recovered, bounced back a lot faster.
Feels really good on sore muscles.
I've done it on a swimmer who was a competitive swimmer and she would always get really bad anxiety before a match or whatever they call it, a meet. And I helped her with that, did Reiki on her before the meet, and she was a lot more calm and able to, keep her bearings before she got in the water. And
oh man, I wish I had that
helped
when
her
I
a
was
lot.
younger and competing.
Yeah.
How wonderful would that have been?
Right. Yeah. Helped a lot of people with anxiety. And when I first started doing Reiki in a practice, most people were coming to me for physical things, but then later, people were coming for emotional things. And I think, just because society has gotten more stressed out and we're busier than we've ever been, and just we're always pulled from different directions all the time, people have more awareness about mental wellness and mental problems or mental, need more mental healing. So the last few years really has been more on a emotional level, which is awesome because, we don't always have to take a pill to cure, to help ease those symptoms.
Yes, to help ease the symptoms.
So it's just awesome that you can have a handful of different things that can help you with so many things. And Reiki is the one thing that works with it all.
Yeah, it's
No
very
matter
holistic.
what, yeah,
Yeah.
no matter what else you're doing to help yourself be well, Reiki can help with that.
It's like the perfect complement to literally anything
Yeah.
that you're doing.
Compliment, that's what
And
the
that's-
word I
yes.
was trying to think of.
See, we
To
make a
have
good team, don't
focus.
we?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But that's true because it works with anything. There are no contraindications to using Reiki.
Right,
There's
yeah.
it literally Reiki can do no harm.
Mhm,
And that's what's so beautiful about it is it only helps you.
mhm.
And it's like I said, it's such a beautiful thing. And it's such a thing that's helped us so much.
Yeah.
And again, we love to share it with others. It's really a joyful
Mhm.
experience
Yeah.
to see other people expand from it, to see other people heal from it, to see other people feel good within themselves with it and feel happier and enjoy their
Yeah.
lives more. It's so beautiful. And like I said, for me, it's helped me out with so many physical things and of course the emotional things, because both you and
Right.
I have talked about on our podcast before about our journeys with anxious feelings
Mhm. Yeah.
and such things as shyness and all
Yeah.
of that kind
Yeah.
of thing. And it's just something that's really amazing. And there's really no downside to trying it.
No.
There's not a downside. And
Mm-mm.
when, like I said, the first time I experienced it, it was such an eye-opening and amazing experience. I had to learn about it.
Mhm.
What is this? Tell me about it. And I
Yeah.
asked all the questions. And my
Yeah.
beautiful friend answered all my questions.
That's awesome. Yeah. 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 And you should ask questions. You know, that's how you learn. That's how you
Absolutely.
learn where to go or what to do and what's going to help you the most. So
Mhm.
don't be afraid to ask questions about whatever it is.
Ask the question.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
always say there's no such thing as a dumb question, because if
Yeah.
you don't know, how else are you gonna learn besides asking the question or
Right.
looking it up
Yep.
or asking people who know. I
Mhm.
love it when people ask questions. It means that you're thinking about it. You want to know more.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's always a beautiful thing to me.
It is. It is. And it's a lot of times it might be something that we forgot about, or, we forgot that it can help that thing. So
Right.
if you have something that you're going through, ask about it. Ask, will Reiki help me in this? Or, can I use Reiki to help me with this? Yes.
The answer is
The
most likely
answer
yes.
is yes.
The answer is yes. Like you said, it's very
Can help with
holistic.
everything.
It helps you in all of the ways.
Yeah.
All of the ways.
Yeah.
And for both of us, it also deepened our spiritual connection.
Yes.
For me, it helped me to really feel my connection to
Mhm.
God, the
Yeah.
source of all that is, the creator of all that is the word I
Yeah.
use most often.
Yeah.
And for me, that made such a huge difference in my life too, in so many ways, is
Mhm.
to remember and feel that connection again. It's huge. It's not like I
Absolutely.
ever lost it, but it was
Right.
so strengthened and so acute. It just made such a huge difference
Mhm.
in a lot of different ways.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really amazing.
Yeah.
I think maybe we should talk about some of the really specific things that it can help with. Maybe kind of give people a list of. We've talked a lot about the different things, but there's so many more things, and we have
Mhm.
actually an article literally called "How Reiki Helps People."
Yeah.
Then we wanted to share some pieces.
Yeah.
Was there anything that you wanted to highlight in this article, Tracy?
Oh, one of the things like headaches.
It's a big one for me.
Yeah, me too. When I used to have, like during menstruation or, that time of the month, I would get migraines and I always did Reiki on myself or for cramps,
Yeah. I get
just on
migraines.
your abdomen yeah. And Reiki is the one thing that helped the most. Even better than Midol or whatever the pill is of the day, Reiki was the thing that got me out of those terrible times. I wish I would have known it when I was a teenager, because I really struggled
Yeah.
with that time of the month when I was a teenager. But and one thing that a lot of people, you can just do it on the spur of the moment. You don't have to have a full session. A lot of times, if you have a gal that you work with or something and they have a headache, you can say, do you want me to see if I can help you with that a little bit, and just do a few minutes of Reiki on their head, and that might get them through to the end of their day before they can have a real session, a full session. So it's not something that you have to have, an appointment for always, or whatever. You can do it, you always have it with you, so you can just do it while you're sitting there.
Right.
I remember at one really stressful job that I had, and I had a coworker that was really hard for anybody in our whole place to work with. And I would get so stressed out, even just knowing how she was making everyone else feel. That would hurt me, that she's hurting. Why are you hurting all these people when you don't, get along? I live by love, I'm a lover, not a fighter. But anyway, I would go in the bathroom and just settle myself down by doing Reiki on my head for 5 minutes, or whatever, on my heart for 5 minutes, just to calm down and be able to deal with that stress of a unruly work partner,
Right.
It's always there for you when you know how to use it. So
Right. Exactly. I'll do Reiki on myself at work too.
yeah,
Like if I get headaches, I'll be sitting at my desk. I'll just do this
yeah,
for a while. Nobody knows what I'm doing. I'm just like,
right,
oh yeah, I'm just, talking with you, resting for a second.
yeah,
Another thing is, I'm around children a lot. And one thing that I'll do if things start getting real like wild is
mm-hmm.
I'll just take a deep breath, and I'll just kind of like, just create a space with Reiki
Mm-hmm.
of just calm and love,
Yeah.
and just kind of make it like just calming
Mm-hmm.
space, and not just sending it to anyone or anything, just making the space a calm and
Yeah.
comfortable space.
Yeah.
And pretty soon things start to
Yeah.
die down, and that makes a huge difference. Just having that positive, loving energy in the space, that
Mm-hmm.
peaceful energy, helps a lot.
Yeah.
And I know stomach aches was one that I
Stomach is
used
a
it on
huge one.
forever until I stopped having stomach aches.
Yeah. Digestion is a huge issue
It
for
is.
so many
And so
people.
many people don't even know how bad their digestion is.
Right.
I mean, I
Yeah.
didn't realize how bad mine was until I started getting a lot better with Amari.
Yeah.
I didn't even know I didn't know how bad it was until I
Yeah.
realized how bad it was.
Until you feel good, you
Yeah.
don't
And I was like,
realize.
well, I'm never going back to that again.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Stomach problems are huge for so many people. And one thing about Reiki, when you are working on something, a lot of times your stomach will growl, or you'll get that, you'll hear the gurgling and stuff like that. And people will get embarrassed if they don't know that that's going to happen, but it most often happens for people. So, and that just tells you the energy is there. The energy is working on things. So it's good when that happens.
It's moving again.
Yeah. And speaking of movement, it's really good for if you have constipation problems, or the
100%.
other way, most of the time people will go to the bathroom right after they're done with the session, because it's helped things start moving again, and help that energy get moving.
And it helps to detox the body
Right.
as well.
Yeah.
So it's moving some of that negative stuff out of your system too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's wonderful. And not in a like uncomfortable way, but like in a gentle way.
Right. Real
It's very
gentle.
gentle, and
Yeah.
they just feel better. And if somebody's having, call it the big D word, if somebody's having diarrhea, a lot of times it'll clear that up too.
Yeah.
I've had that experience where it's
Yeah.
just like, oh wow. And your body just starts to regulate itself again. It's just
Right.
rebalances this whole system.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah. So in an essence, Reiki works on your chakra system.
Mhm.
And we've talked a little bit about that on a podcast.
Yeah, we did a whole podcast on chakras. Look it up. It's a really good one.
Yeah. So Reiki goes in and it clears blocks in your energy system, so that your energy is moving. So it's balancing everything in your whole system.
Right.
And that's basically, on a whole, that's what Reiki does, is helps, when things are off a little bit in one system or another in your body, it helps regulate that and helps balance it out, so that can move smoothly like a machine, like we're supposed to.
Right. And like when you say, the energy flow, like I literally experience it in the blood flow of my body.
Right.
'Cause
Yeah.
that's part of the flow of energy in our bodies as well. And we know that our blood flow creates an electromagnetic field
Mhm.
around ourselves.
Yeah.
So think about that. That's what the aura really is our body's electromagnetic system. And
Yeah.
that also has to do with our chakra system, and everything is really connected.
Yeah.
Whether you want to talk about it in scientific terms or talk about it in traditional terms, such as the chakra system and energy system of the body.
Yeah.
It's all connected, and it can do such amazing things.
Mhm. And it's connected, to everything. We're all, energy is everything. So if you fix one system, it's a ripple effect and it goes out and helps others too. So
Right.
it's just, yeah, amazing. Amazing.
Yeah, because we already talked about injuries is wonderful for all types of aches and pains,
Yeah.
injuries, healing.
Yeah.
Again, it's indicated in evidence
Mhm.
through the many different clinical trials and different things that they've done now. So it's empirically tested
Yeah.
that Reiki works.
Mhm.
It just does.
Yeah.
And that's what's beautiful about it. And you talked a lot about the emotional part of it.
Mhm.
And it's harder to study that, but you can also see through if you're healing people's aches and pains, and they're able to do more and enjoy their life
Yeah.
more and not be in pain all the time, that also lifts your
Yeah.
mood and that improves your emotional state.
Mhm.
So, you can see how those things would be correlated with one another,
Yeah.
and not just the way that we've talked about it, but also correlating through all of the other good things that it's doing in your bodily systems so that you
Right.
feel better. And of course, it works on the emotional level, and we know that as well.
Yeah. And that's why it's called a holistic way of healing,
Yes.
because it works on our whole being, not just the physical or emotional. It works on all layers of our being. So even spiritual,
Mhm.
it will help you strengthen, just like it happened to us.
Yeah.
It helps you strengthen your connection to God and to that higher power that gives us life. So
Mhm.
it's just all on all levels. Creativity is one in this list too. To use it in meditation, to meditate on one of the symbols can help. When you know the symbols, if you learn Reiki, I've used it at end of life, helping my mom pass over.
Mhm.
And that was a beautiful experience for me, and I think for her. It just eases that pain, or if there is pain, it eases that transition to make it a beautiful, beautiful experience for everyone. I've used it on people going through chemo. That's really helped with their side effects. Didn't get as sick, didn't throw up or whatever, were able to get back on track faster and enjoy their life rather than being sick the whole time they were going through treatments.
It's also an immune booster,
Yeah.
which is huge when it comes to things like chemo,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
because it literally kills your immune system. So to
Yeah.
start building that back up right away
Right.
or during treatment,
Mhm.
to boost all of the red blood cells and all things that you really
Yeah.
need to keep your healing going,
Mhm.
keep your body going.
Yeah.
It's so important. And
Yeah.
you were talking about end of life stuff as well. Well, we both have used Reiki on pets, on
Mhm.
animals,
Yeah.
and Reiki is really beautiful with animals.
Yeah.
And that's something that I have done with end of life for some of our pets as well.
Yeah.
Is I've done
Awesome.
Reiki with them and been with them
Yeah.
spiritually to help them transition more easily and not
Mhm.
be afraid. And that's been a really beautiful experience
Yeah,
too.
really
Mhm.
is. Yeah. Um, Speaking of animals, one time we had a hummingbird hit the window and it was laying on the deck. And I put it in a box and I didn't get too close because a lot of animals are real sensitive to the energy. So if you're too close, it's too strong for them. So you want to be mindful of that and, just be gentle about it. And Reiki is really gentle no matter
Yeah,
what. But
it is.
so I had this little bird in the box and I did Reiki on the box, and I had it just sitting on my hand, the box was, and just kind of from a little bit of a distance, just sent him good energy and did the Reiki. Pretty soon he got up and he was moving around and then sitting up. So then I set the box in this big bush that we have in our backyard and set the box there. And then I just sat in a chair. We have chairs and a table on the deck, and I sat there and just sent the bird Reiki in there. Pretty soon he got up and flew away. It was so cool to,
Wow.
who knows if he would have got up anyway, but you never know. It might have saved his life,
Right.
So just do it, if you see an animal on the side of the road that got hit by the car, it doesn't hurt to just send them that little prayer, Reiki,
Mhm.
and help that transition. Or, you can use it on anything. At a restaurant is another good way to do it. Do Reiki on your food before you eat,
Yeah.
because you don't know if that cook hates his job or loves his job or has had a bad day, and that energy from the people that are preparing that food goes into your food. So I always do a little Reiki on my food before I start eating, it nourishes you better if it's
Yeah.
good energy going in.
Yeah, it
So
nourishes and, provides that positive energy and
mhm.
releases anything that you're not interested in having
Yep.
in your system.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know after my third attunement with Reiki, I really struggled with eating meat.
Mm,
And so, and I love meat.
yeah.
And I was like, where is this coming from? Because my nickname growing up was Carissa the Carnivore because steak was my favorite food. And I'm like, I'm going to eat steak the rest of my life. That's happening. And so I had to start raking my food if there was any meat in it so that I could eat it. So it's like basically clearing any of the energy from that meat that wasn't
Right.
positive.
Yeah.
And I was able to eventually get over that, but it helped so much. And it actually really showed me that makes a difference.
Yeah.
And the energy of what you're
Mhm.
consuming. And that's huge. We use Reiki on our crystals and clear the energy of the crystals so
Yeah.
it makes a positive space.
Mhm.
Crystals also amplify Reiki energy, which you do crystal Reiki,
Yeah.
which is such a beautiful practice.
Yeah.
Love
It's
it. You can
awesome.
talk about that a little bit more in
Yeah.
a minute. I do Reiki on water. I
Yeah.
bless water with Reiki.
And that's awesome.
And I always feel really good when I ingest that, and
Mhm.
I do different things with that. And you know about that kind of thing
Mhm.
that I do with the water.
Yeah.
But I mean, really the applications are endless.
Yeah.
Plants, I give my garden Reiki every day when I go to water them. I water my plants and
Awesome.
I
Yeah.
sing to them and I give them Reiki because why wouldn't you sing to your plants, right? If you don't sing to your plants, you need to start. They like it.
Yeah.
You should see my garden in the
And
summer.
we have plants that should not be alive in
Oh,
our
they should be
office
totally dead. They should be
because they
so
get
dead.
neglected so bad.
Like
But
there
they're
were times where we
still
didn't water them for
thriving.
weeks.
I know.
And they're
Yeah.
green.
Yeah,
They're green.
still green.
And they keep growing.
Yeah.
How? It has to be the energy. This is the only way.
Yeah.
There's no other way
Yeah.
that they should be alive at all.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
this, we have one over here that seems like it's dead. And then all of a sudden starts growing another green leaf and we're like,
It's the energy.
how did that happen?
Yeah. Yeah. And another way to use Reiki is to protect your space, to make it a nice, calm space. We project the symbols on our doors and the windows and stuff in our office to create that protection around us. And people that come to our office for the first time always say how good it feels in here.
Yeah.
So it's working when you do that. I do that at my home, in my house, in my yard.
I make my home my sanctuary.
Yeah.
It's a safe place.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So what else?
Oh my gosh.
I
I mean,
think
I'm sure we could talk
that's-
about Reiki for hours.
Yeah, we
but we
can.
don't want to overwhelm our audience.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a first timer
Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
haven't heard about it before. We don't want to overextend the capacity here.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you want to learn more or try out a session, book online with either one of us.
Yes.
We're always here to help or answer questions.
Yep. We love questions. We already talked
Yeah.
about that. So
Yeah. let us
questions
know in
are
the
good
comments.
questions.
Yeah, there's never a dumb question, so. We're always here to help. If you have something you want to know about,
Right, let
or
us know.
question about Reiki, or wondering if, you know, when we're teaching or whatever, just let us know. So,
Absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely. So
I
Tracy,
think we're done.
why don't you tell us where people can find you if they want to book with you or ask you questions besides here?
Yeah, you can find me at Inspired Signals everywhere on, not everywhere, but on Facebook and Instagram, and my webpage is inspiredsignals.com. How about you, Carissa?
You can find me on Facebook at Light of Hope Healing. You can also find us together on Facebook at our Soul Space on
yeah.
Facebook. And then I also have a square site that's light-of-hope-healing.square.site. Say that 5 times fast.
Yeah, just put the dashes in between the words.
Yeah,
You'll
just
get
dashes
it.
in between, it'll be fine.
Yeah, you'll get it.
Well, we hope that you've enjoyed this. Please let us know
Yeah.
what questions you have, or if you want to learn more, let us know. We're happy to hear from you. Otherwise, we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.